Hey there everyone, it's JC. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, I just wanted to recap my long weekend over in Columbus, Ohio for Simon Says Create 2026. If you're not familiar with Simon Says Create, it's an in-person event taught by, crafting celebrities. And there are many booths featuring like industry small businesses, featuring their latest products, and it's just a fun time to interact with not only the content creators that I know and love, but also just many wonderful folks, who get to craft in person because there's not a lot of consumer based crafting sessions where you get to really interact on this level. So it's a really popular event. The tickets sell out really fast. And this is my second time teaching, but my third time at Simon Says Create. My first time was maybe in 2019. I don't remember the year exactly, but that was the first time I attended as just an attendee. But I am there this time and the previous time with All To New. And I'm there with my dynamic duo partner, Bridget Casey, of course. But this time we were joined by Nicole Picadora, marketing director over at All To New. So yeah, I just wanted to recap the event that I had and just everything I saw. I am leaving from Denver International Airport. I was able to fly direct from DIA to Columbus, Ohio, and it takes about, I don't know, less than 3 hours to get over there. And I left Denver's doom and gloom weather for Columbus's fairly nice weather. It was still a little cold, but at least it wasn't as cloudy as it was over in the Rockies. Now, I landed the day of the VIP event. So right when I landed, I had to rush over to the Ohioan, or previously known as the Nationwide Hotel. But anyway, I made the, I guess, 30-minute Lyft ride from the airport over to the hotel slash convention center. And then we had to get right to business. So I met up with Nicole, who had my ticket, or I'm sorry, my room key, and just had a little refresh and then had to get going to set up for the event. Luckily, Bridget and Nicole did most of the work. I just had to show up, and I decided to make a little sample of the card that we were making with the VIP attendees that night. Now, the Ohioan, or the previously known Nationwide Hotel, was never really, ugly, but I was really surprised by the renovations. It was very modern looking, still had its like outdoor charm, its I guess colonial look to it. But the rooms were upgraded, I guess, and just a little bit more modern, so that was refreshing to see. The only downside of all of this with all the construction is that usually the after party, I guess, of all the events, the pub on the convention center campus is a really popular spot for all of us content creators and customers alike to hang out and just unwind from the day. But it was under construction during the time that we were there. But after running into the lovely Tina and the lovely Betsy over at the Concord table, I finally met up with my dynamic duo partner, Miss Bridget Casey, and there's Nicole. I already met her earlier to pick up my keys. So yeah, they're busy setting up the VIP night, the first card that we were making for everyone, which features the zero waste Fluttering Fantasies, I think is what it was called. It's a beautiful die set that cuts out all of these butterflies and the bodies to them. So I thought that would be a nice relaxing craft to make. And yeah, I decided to make my own sample because, there's never enough examples to showcase. And I just worked on one of the open seats before the attendees started to arrive. And honestly, this is kind of the calm before the storm, because after this, it just goes. It goes, it goes, it goes. And, maybe for the Simon folks, like it's been going for a while, but for all of us, quote unquote, exhibitors, I guess, or vendors, this is really when it starts, and then it doesn't stop until we leave. But anyway, yeah, just making that little sample on my little mat here. We used the Geomix stencil to create a little background, just something to oppose the little butterflies. Bridget made all of these designs, so I just followed her instruction essentially. But look, that's so cute. And then the sentiments on there are a principal sentiment set. Let's take a look at the booth. So there are two little kiosks, I guess. We had kiosk number 19 and 20. And I guess the nice thing about this year's Simon Says Create is that there was an integrated app. So you could see what we were making before all of the events. And if there was a particular product that wasn't on the shelf, you could find the SKU on a tag behind all the products and see if it was going to become in stock or if it's in stock at all. There wasn't a lot of product on the shelf, and they did that intentionally so that they could continuously bring in items from the warehouse, which, by the way, is just 3 minutes away from the Ohioan. And yeah, I think it's just a lot less stuff on the shelf, but a lot more circulation of product, if that makes sense. Yeah, there's just so many sample cards that Bridget and I made, and many of the wonderful Altenew design team members made, just showing off their wonderful projects. Such great examples. I heard so many compliments on everybody's cards who submitted them. So yeah, it's just a quick view of everything that we brought. By the way, these are all the companies that were here for Making Created Take It, or cities is what they called them. And this is the teaching space. Now, when I was here as an attendee, this was not the teaching space. So I don't know if they upgraded this room or what, but it's cute. It's really modern. I love the open space. It's very bright. It's not to say that the other conference rooms weren't, but it was also kind of far. Not far as in like, if you've been to large convention halls, like it's quite a walk. It just wasn't in a really intuitive spot. You kind of had to look around for it and look for signs and look for the right room. But this one was just immediately across the hall from the main ballroom, and between the second ballroom where everything else was split between, I guess. So here's Nicole and Bridget's, it's our last wave before the chaos ensues, I guess. Because once those doors open, like I said, it goes, and we don't stop. Here's another view of what was on the other side of booth number 20, or I guess kiosk number 20. So more embossing folders, more stencils. This was a lot more like tools and stuff and embellishments, whereas like booth number 19 was like stamps and embossing folders. I took a few more B-rolls before a lot of folks started showing up. We still had a little bit of time after making some examples and checking the booth before everybody started rolling in. So yeah, just a view of the Ohioan Events Center. Across this little bridge is the hotel, which houses many modern rooms, which is so cute. But again, the exterior has like that little charm to it. Then once those doors open, then it was just time to create. So here's a view of some of the attendees making their beautiful card samples, starting off with the geometric mix stencil. And then after that, they're going to start layering their butterflies and their sentiments. So yeah, just a really easy card to make. And, once you die cut the zero waste Fluttering Fantasies cover die, then it's just really easy to align these butterflies however you want. Bridget, Nicole, and I kept it low-key because the VIP night ends really late. So we got some DoorDash, and we just ate in the lobby, just caught up a little bit before the first full day of crafting begins. And VIP night is open to, I think, students, folks who registered for the classes get the VIP entry, whereas folks who just entered as general admission, they start on this particular day. So this was Friday starting at 9 a.m. and the event went until 5 p.m., 6 p.m. I don't know. It just feels it's a long day. Truthfully, it's a long day. So I got there kind of late after breakfast. I went to the gym and then had to bathe myself before coming into the show floor. But we prepared almost everything before opening for this day, so we didn't have to do really too much of preparing as far as the day goes. For day one, we were using the Build a Garden Garland Grace, the stencil and the stamp set and the mini blending tools to just make a simple 1-layer card. So the preparation was done way in advance. So Bridget and Nicole, they stamped the panels ahead of time, and so all attendees had to do was stencil onto them. And yeah, it was just a brief introduction to folks for the Build a Garden series, and also for those who haven't crafted before, it's just a nice way to show them how easy it is to use layering stencils and some ink blending tools and our wonderful fresh dye inks. So again, like the first day, I'm making a sample. We were using the original size 7.5-inch square sticky mat grid. And yeah, that's my sample. So after that, here's just everybody at the booth. Met a lot of new folks. And it was a long day. I don't know what else to say. So I still had some energy at this point to just like do a little bit of vlogging and interrupting everybody and bothering people and making people appear on camera when they weren't ready. So that was the end of the second day, but the first night of general admission. And then the third day, or the final day, here's the outfit. It's the Craft Your Life 2025 t-shirts. And this time I'm going to go through a different way. Saturday is the busiest day, understandably, because, people are usually off and they're here for the weekend. So here I am just strolling through, bothering everybody. And today's Create It, Take It was featuring the Lush Botanicals African Daisies. So this is a new pairing of items that is available from Altenew. And what it does is you die cut, cardstock, obviously, and paired in the same packaging is the embossing folder. So in this case, with the African Daisy, with its lovely veining details and the ruffly patterns that are so characteristic of osteospermum, is just that nice ruffly texture. And I could not film this card. So that was the day. And shortly before the event ended, Bridget, Nicole, and we were just relieved to be done, I guess. And now we get to do our shopping of our own. So we made our way to the second ballroom first, and then we were going to go to the other one. So booths closed, or cities closed, but people could still shop. So in the second room was a lot of Simon Says stamp items. Just perusing. There's so many things on the shelf. I feel like if I really had the time as an attendee to really look at everything, there would be so many things in my cart, right? But yeah, we're just perusing, looking at all the nice things. The Simon crew was just very busy. I loved looking at Kathy Zilski's stuff. I got some stuff the last time I was here. With her little poop and toilet paper stamp set. I thought it was hilarious. Had to get it. I saw it the first time I was an attendee, and then I didn't pick it up. And then I regretted it many years later, as if I couldn't buy it online. But anyway, this was Bridget and Pam and a few other folks who I met the second time I went to Simon Says Create. They bought it for me. So I kind of want to pair it with some other things in my stash now that my collection has grown, aside from Altenew items. So, and here we go. So we're over at we're over at Spellbinders / Hero Arts in their booth, and my collection is there. So all my senses showed up. I know a lot of people could not get a hold of it. So this is a good opportunity for folks to do so, because it was available in person, and there were discounts that were happening in person since people were shopping in the online retail area. There were other lovely items that I helped showcase too, like the block print Zodiacs, Wheelhouse, Steamboat Willie, also made an appearance there. Just so many lovely things, and Nicole ended up picking a few items up from my collection, which I was so excited about. So I just love that. and I heard so many great things about All My Senses. So those of you who came up to me, and were really supportive of All My Senses and what the collection meant to me, or still means to me, and how many of you put your faces and your skin tones and just made it your own. It was just so important. It's exactly what I wanted. It was just, yeah, it was important that I saw you all in these cards and in the inspiration of the card projects themselves. So anyway, let's see what else is in this room. Oh, right, there were some hero arts items, of course, spellbinders / hero arts, and then there was spellbinders. There was Pink Fresh. Love that booth, always so cute. Lovely inspiration from their team. Gina K was also in this room. I think Alex Siberia was also in this room. Brutus Monroe was also in this room. Sorry, I couldn't get a good shot of this one. I didn't want to film individuals in this. I try to be as cognizant as I can when filming strangers, but we're in a public spot, so I can't really avoid it too much. What else was here? So Gina K again. I like Alex Siberia. And the nice thing about Simon Says Great is that they split up the rooms. The first time I was here, it was only in the main ballroom, and it was a lot, but I think they learned and expanded into this separate space. And this second space is not like, all of this was modernized somehow. Like, they changed the interior, so it was fun to see. And then we made our way back to the main ballroom, so the room that we were in originally. I saw Heidi and Tim Holtz and Mario, so I was too afraid to approach them, so I just kept on walking. And I ended up picking some things up from the Tim Holtz / Stampers, what is it? Stampers Anonymous. That's what it was. I had to look at the packaging again. There was a flower set that I saw for a Simon / Tim Holtz release of some sort. It was like a special thingy that they did, and it was a floral set, so I had to get it, but then I didn't, and I sat on it for a long time. I was like, I don't need it. With what time? But then, as things have evolved for me as far as journaling and going live, like, I have a little bit more forced time, I guess, to create and use the other things that are sent to me, because I don't just do things for Altenew. I've tried to become more of a free agent and do the things that I enjoy. Like, it's not to say that I don't enjoy the time with Altenew. It's just I wanted to experiment with things that I find exciting outside of what Altenew has to offer, I guess. So anyway, the item was Stampers Anonymous floral trims, and I got the coordinating die set from Simon, and yeah, that's just one of the things I picked up from the booth. But again, since Tim and Mario and Heidi walked by, I just was like, I'll circle back to this. Let's see, we're just going back around trying to showcase other things. Pink and Main. Did I mention Brutus Monroe was in the other room? So Pink and Main, Brutus Monroe, they were my first opportunities. So when I first started YouTube and my own Instagram and all of that, so they hold a special place in my heart. I feel like without them, it wasn't really what it really wasn't the. They were my catalyst, to get things going and to see that, I had some sort of momentum to share things. And so that was really encouraging. And then there were other brands that I just wasn't so familiar with. I was moving really fast because I just didn't want to be in people's way, and I wanted other people to shop and stuff like that. So and then there were more Simon items in here, like envelopes and some of their specialty card stock, some of their tools like their ink stands and their protective sleeves for whatever they have. And what else was in this room? I think after that, we had to finish cleaning up. So before I caused any more damage to the things I picked up, I ended up checking out. I'm going to end this here, and hopefully you enjoyed my little vlog of my time at Simon Says Create 2026. Thank you to everyone who came up to me, shared beautiful gifts with me, and just talked card making and crafting in general. It was really encouraging. It's always really refreshing to see everyone in general. So I'll see you in another live session or in another YouTube video. right back here on my channel. Please subscribe and please like this video if you liked it. And I'll see you again very soon.